Chapter 81. Good or Bad. Yishio was currently going through the dungeon with Tianqi and the others. After the overbearing scheme side had made an appointment to go to Dungeon 25, they also asked Yishio to level up. Compared to Lanhe, they simply wouldn't think of having a complicated relationship with Yishio. Giving money and doing things was as simple as that. Regarding successfully killing the dwarf merchant but not being able to get on the leaderboard, Tianqi and the others felt extremely angry. Yishio didn't take this matter seriously at all. The honor of being at the top that ordinary players admired and envied was nothing to him. However, among the common players, this was indeed a very important honor. So even though he didn't need to be on the list, he didn't show it on the outside. Just like that, logically, he considered this an advantage to exchange for more rewards from the tyrannical scheme. Tianqi and the others still felt that even so, it was not worth it, but to Yishio, this felt like getting a bargain. Tyrannical scheme was naturally extremely heartbroken, but there was no other way. They value honor more than normal players, and having their guild name displayed on the board is very important to them, so they are willing to pay a high price. To take over the head of the dwarf merchant, Yishio demanded 20 white wolf furs from tyrannical schemes and 30 spider fangs and claws. Spider fangs and claws are items obtained from the spider cave instance of the beginner village, the two hidden bosses, Spider Spirit and Spider Warrior. These two hidden bosses are both humanoid monsters. Spider Warrior holds a spider shield in his hand, and Spider Spirit has 8 legs just like normal spiders. If these two hidden bosses are killed, they have a chance to drop spider fangs and claws. Because the dungeon in the newbie village had no limit on the number of times, guilds like the overbearing scheme had quite a few of these materials. 30 fangs and claws were not difficult. As for the white wolf fur, it had to be dropped by killing the hidden boss white wolf in the Frost Forest, but in the situation where Zone 10 had only opened for a few days, the overbearing scheme didn't have much left. Last time, they wasted 10 on Yi Wei-yong. This time, 20 couldn't be paid off in one go. Fortunately, everyone had a set number of times to enter the dungeon on the new day. After killing the dwarf merchant, the people in the overbearing scheme quickly organized a raid on the Frost Forest dungeon to prepare to pay off their debts. Everyone in the guild was in tears. Damn it. Who was the one doing the work? How the hell did they turn into debt slaves? Guild leader Yidu Handan was the most worried. This Jun Ma Xiao was truly a genuine talent. If the level is getting higher and higher, the number of dungeons is increasing, and the number of wild bosses is also increasing. Is it possible that whenever one wants to set a record somewhere, one must find that guy to intervene? This guy's desire is extremely great, and he is also cunning. He doesn't need money. He only wants hidden materials. If this continues, it is impossible to completely buy him out. Even if there is this possibility, the situation is still very passive. Could it be that the ranking of District 10 is completely in this guy's hands? Especially the two rankings that show the most strength, such as taking the top spot of the wild boss and breaking the dungeon clearance record. It seems that the situation of District 10 is out of control, all because of this expert who suddenly appeared. Where did this thing jump out from? Yidu Hantan was extremely puzzled. He also had the idea of going back to the guild headquarters to ask for opinions like Lanhe. Everyone everywhere carried their own thoughts while fighting the dungeon. That night, a group of players from District 10 broke through to level 25, changed new equipment, learned new skills, and instantly raised their strength by a level. Although Yidu Hantan had some worries, he had already finished asking Yishio to break the Frost Forest instance record. Hey, our people are level 25 already. Let's go break the record. Yi Wei-yong was still the representative of overbearing schemes who contacted Yishio. Huh? Wait a moment. I'm still in the instance that hasn't come out yet. Yishio said. You're not planning on finishing that turn, are you? Yi Wei-yong was sweating. There's one more time. Yishio said. Hurry. Yi Wei-yong urged. What's the rush? You don't need a priest to break the record. Yishio said. Damama, I came here to ask what you want this time. Yi Wei-yong said. 10 white wolf furs, 2 mithril metals, ice pointing staff. Yishio said. Are you a fur maniac? Yi Wei-yong cried. Their entire guild had just struggled through the Frost Forest instance today, and had only managed to return 20 white wolf furs with great difficulty, and this time, he wanted 10. Yi Wei-yong told Yidu Handan about the fur. Yidu Handan almost flipped the table. Causing trouble? He intentionally caused trouble, right? Why would he want so much white wolf fur for nothing? If you want to sell it for money, what materials can you use? White wolf sharp teeth. White wolf skin. White witch's tears. Frost remnants. Ask him if he can use those things as a substitute. Yi Weiyong hurriedly ran to ask, but Yi Xiu was very generous. Okay, let's mortgage those things. Wait until you guys get enough white wolf fur. Then I can come and exchange it, okay? What do you want white wolf fur for in the end? Yi Weiyong saw that this person still wanted the fur. It wasn't like he was selling hidden materials to make money, but he really needed to use it. Making equipment. Yi Xiu said. Nonsense. Yi Weiyong rolled her eyes. The most useful point of these hidden materials was of course to make equipment. What did he ask for? It was to ask what equipment to make. Currently, it was only level 20. It was not worth making equipment right away. If you do it, you have to make it the highest level. In the end, Yi Xiu did not answer Yi Weiyong's question. Therefore, Yi Weiyong did not ask any further, temporarily not mentioning the white wolf fur. The mithril medallion was just like a toy. The value of the other items was worth mentioning. Yi Xiu only requested 3 items, but it was enough to make the make. Ice Point Staff. This was level 25 orange equipment, currently from top to bottom in overbearing schemes. There really was none. Orange equipment had an extremely low drop rate. Normally, they were all bought with money. Even if it was low-level orange equipment, sometimes high-level players would take it out to show off for a while, because it was very difficult to get it. Otherwise, Yi Weiyong wouldn't have used his orange ice cross weapon to fool people. People with orange equipment were a kind of status. There really isn't an ice-pointing staff right now, Yi Weiyong said. Then let's talk about it later. Yi Xiu wasn't in a hurry. He wasn't in a hurry at all. Lord Grimm was only level 21, and there were still plenty of opportunities to break records in the Frost Forest. But the tyrannical scheme's side was worried. Their entire group was already level 25, and they still had to continue to level up quickly. As soon as they reached 26, their achievements in the Frost Forest would no longer count. Change it to something else. Can you mortgage it first? Yi Weiyong said. Your ice cross? Yi Xiu asked. Fuck! Yi Weiyong shouted loudly. Yi Xiu had not finished speaking yet. Yours is only a level 20 orange weapon. It's still very bad. Add some other hidden materials, and change it again? Yi Weiyong had not recovered for a long time. He knew that he had really brought disaster upon himself. He was now begging Yidu Handan, showing that he did not want to be the one to discuss with this guy anymore. Whoever wants to go, go. Yi Weiyong hugged his ice crystal cross and ran away. Yidu Handan felt puzzled. He had no choice but to add Jun Ma Xiao as a good friend. He asked, after hearing the 4 words ice-pointing staff, he almost vomited blood. This really doesn't exist. Yidu Handan cried. Having this expert to help, was this a blessing or a curse? Chapter 82. The Vague Dungeon Record. This ice-pointing staff also made Yidu Handan a little helpless, but he didn't regret it. No matter how rare this thing appeared, it was only a level 25 equipment, just an early transfer equipment. It could only be temporarily powerful at this short leveling stage. Of course, a veteran wouldn't care too much. Thinking of this, Yidu Handan couldn't help but despise Yi Weiyong a little. It was just a level 20 orange weapon, but that guy treated it like a treasure and refused to hand it over. When asked for the reason, he even said he was keeping it for show. Just taking it as collateral. It's not like it can't be exchanged. Yidu Handan said to Yi Weiyong. Don't lie to me. Do you think you can exchange it if you want? The person specifically mentioned the ice-pointing staff. How many times do you think that thing needs to meet the white witch before it can be dropped? Yi Weiyong said. This ice-point staff was also the place that made Yidu Handan feel helpless. It was already an orange weapon. It could only be encountered, but not asked for. If you don't have it, then go buy it. There are always ways to get it. Yidu Handan said. If not, try it now. Yi Weiyong said. Try selling your ice crystal cross. Yidu Handan said angrily. Right now, it was the stage where the new area opened. As an experienced veteran, he would only sell equipment, not buy equipment. Right now, low-level equipment could still be sold for money, especially when meeting some ghosts who had money. Wait until everyone's level was high enough to enter the divine domain. Low-level equipment would be just a passing cloud. At that time, a level 25 purple weapon would be the same price as a white wolf fur. Yi Han Tan said to buy. Of course he meant when all the low-level weapons were cheap. Now buying a level 25 orange weapon. Only an idiot would do that. How could Yi Yang not understand? Sell it, sell it. Yi Yang shed tears. He knew that the weapon that made him superior at level 20 could not be kept in the end, making him even more angry at Lord Grimm. Yi Han Tan's mood was also not very good. He suddenly felt like he was disregarding everything. This feeling really made people feel very bad. However, for the sake of the guild's career in the new district, for the sake of the guild's reputation, this price was worth it. In the end, both of them relied on this firm belief, and then couldn't help but be convinced. This old fox Junimo Shao, although very cunning, always stayed within their scope and wasn't a lion with its mouth wide open shouting exorbitant prices. The problem was, if this continued, Yi Han Ten feared that all three of their major guilds would have to start fighting to depend on this lion with its mouth wide open Junimo Shao. This was not a long-term path that could be taken. After discussing it properly with Junimo Shao, Yi Han Ten also logged out and logged into his main account to ask for help from the headquarters. It wasn't that he didn't want to participate in breaking the Frost Forest record, but damn it, he was a knight, a defensive profession in glory, which was MT's first choice, and ended up being ignored just like Priest Yi Yang. A knight and a priest, the two most popular professions of the Holy Order, originally the two central characters of the overbearing schemes pioneering in Zone 10, now became two helpless people who had been through the bitter storms. Seeing that Lord Grimm had just arrived at Frost Forest, immediately created a team of level 25 DPS sent out from overbearing scheme, and then proceeded to explain the tactics. Yi Yang hated it so much that he wanted to squeeze the mouse until it bled like an orange. That's roughly it, do you understand? After Yi Xiu finished explaining the battle tactics, he believed that such a strong team, as long as there were no mistakes, improving the previous record wouldn't be a problem. What was worrying was how much they could improve. The four people were a bit stunned after hearing this. Just like when Lan He and the others heard that they would use one-wave rush, they only found it hard to believe. If you have no objections, then let's begin immediately, Yi Xiu declared, casually controlling Lord Grimm to lead the way into the dungeon. The four people still had doubts in their hearts, but after entering the dungeon, they didn't think much about it anymore, and immediately went forward quickly. Breaking the record, they had to seize every second. At this time, Lord Grimm had also gone up to lure the monsters. Compared to last time, Wu Tianji had improved many forms. Guns, swords, and spears all had the attack power of level 15 silver weapons. Yi Xiu pulled the monsters even more stably, and also commanded 4 DPS to attack while he was pulling the monsters. The four people were very careful, afraid of OT, but they discovered that under this person's command, OT seemed to not exist at all. Could it be that this person understood their attack ability better than they did? The more than 20 little monsters were pulled back by the wave, causing the four to be scared out of their wits. But under Yi Xiu's step-by-step command, the four people quickly operated well, just like the Blue Stream Pavilion before, from doubt, to fear, to surprise. After the first wave of monsters were cleared, everyone glanced at the time and immediately concluded that as long as they didn't make any mistakes, breaking the record was a given. Kill. The four people at this moment were all full of energy, more excited than Yi Xiu. Even though setting the record was because of their overbearing scheme, Yi Xiu was not surprised by this result, continuing to command step by step. Yi Yang and the others in overbearing scheme went to the dungeon, but their thoughts were not there. They were all thinking about the record-breaking team on the other side. Yi Yang occasionally looked at the time. In the blink of an eye, 10 minutes had passed. They on this side were also a strong team, all level 25. But looking at the progress of the dungeon at this time, breaking the record was impossible. Yi Yang couldn't help but want to go ask, but he was afraid that sending a message would distract the other group's attention. Meanwhile, the other people in the team were fighting monsters and gossiping. The main topic was focused on this mysterious expert Junimo Shao. In the blink of an eye, 5 minutes had passed. The record-breaking team had been in the dungeon for 15 minutes. Their mood was Yi Yang became even more nervous. She couldn't help but open the scoreboard again, and the record of 20 minutes 24 seconds 11 was still in front of her. The strength of the players was now very different. After these 15 minutes, A new record could be created at any time. Broken. Suddenly, someone in the team shouted loudly. Yi Wei-yong, who was still immersed in the scoreboard, was startled and quickly glanced at the system notification, and her eyes widened. The system announced, "Congratulations to the members of Zhongxiao Tang, Xe, Qianzi, Guhi Xian, Su He Xiang, Su Junzi, and Banda Hai for breaking the record for clearing the ice mist forest instance, with a score of 17 minutes 48 seconds 45. People of Zhongxiao Tang?" The other 4 people were all surprised. "Don't be hasty, it's not the end yet." Yi Wei-yong unexpectedly calmed down. At this time, the major guilds had all reached level 25. Naturally, they would join hands to break the Frost Forest record. Zhongxiao Hall was showing off their skills a bit. Not surprising. 17 minutes, 48 seconds, 45. This record still had a chance to be broken. Lord Grimm's team had only been in for 15 minutes. Perhaps it was about to end? Yi Wei-yong's prediction was not wrong. When the Zhongxiao Hall news appeared, Yi Xiu's team of 5 didn't even bat an eyelid. Because right now they were preparing to create a new record. 17 minutes, 18 seconds? What a pity. The people of Zhongxiao Hall were probably only happy for a minute. The 4 people of the overbearing scheme who had always had a competitive relationship with Zhongxiao Hall were excitedly thinking. Yi Xiu continued to maintain his high-speed, stable attacks. Suddenly, at that moment, the system displayed another notification. System notification. Congratulations to the members of the Jiao Wang dynasty. Black-colored Kuei, Sea Wind, Zibu Yu. No place to hide. Big money bag for breaking the record for clearing the Frost Forest instance. The achievement was 13 minutes 24 seconds 21. World Channel of Terror. Chapter 83. Almost at the limit. 13 minutes 24 seconds 21. Perhaps for many players, this is just a series of numbers recorded on the scoreboard. But for Du Wei-yong, for Xianzi, for Lam Ha, for players in large guilds who always remember and fight over the high and low numbers on the scoreboard, they truly understand how meaningful this series of numbers is. 13 minutes, 24 seconds, 21. This is not simply a record in Zone 10, but this number has clearly broken the record of the entire glory. This record is not rewarded by the system at all. At first, the players themselves recorded the records of each large zone for comparison. Then it turned into the publishing company recording and compiling the rankings in each zone. The highest record ever for Frost Forest was only 14 minutes 31 seconds 58. People like Lan He, although they couldn't remember the numbers clearly, at least they knew that no one had ever broken that 14-minute record. But now, in Zone 10, only a group of players from Jiaowang Dynasty had actually broken this record by a full minute. The people from Zhongxiao Hall ultimately couldn't laugh for a full minute, and the people from overbearing schemes weren't the ones laughing until the end. Yi Xiu's team had already been in the dungeon for more than 15 minutes. They definitely couldn't break this record. Fuck. This news had only appeared in the world for a second, and the 4 members of the team were all stunned. At this point, their efforts were meaningless. During the entire process of clearing the dungeon, they were careful, and careful. Even though their palms were covered in sweat, they didn't dare wipe it off, for fear of being late by a second. But what was the result? Just when they thought that breaking the Zhongxiao Hall record was completely fine, a new record appeared. This achievement of 13 minutes 24 seconds 21 was like a bolt from the blue. The 4 of them were already stiff, but the sound of fighting still lingered in their ears. The 4 of them came to their senses and saw that Lord Grimm was actually still fighting. "Big brother, didn't you see the system notification?" One of them couldn't help but say. "I saw it." Yi Xiu replied. "We're running out of time." One of them sighed. "Why do we have to finish the game?" Yi Xiu laughed. "You're still laughing, so you didn't get anything either." One of them finished speaking and also started attacking back. "That's right, how unlucky." Yi Xiu said. "Jiao Wang Dynasty. Damn it, 13 minutes. Doesn't this break the highest record of all 10 regions?" One of the 4 said in disbelief. "Broken. The original record that hasn't been broken yet was 14 minutes. The remaining person said, "Hey, it seems we are far behind." Another person said, "That's right. It will take us about 16 minutes to finish." Yi Xiu said, "Sigh." With a sigh, the boss of the Ice Shuang camp was finally defeated by the 5 people. Their score was 17 minutes 7 seconds 66. Just like that, they broke the newly set record of the Central Grass Hall, ranking second in the District 10 scoreboard. However, this second achievement, for a small guild, was very difficult, but for the overbearing scheme, it was meaningless. When Junmo Xiao and the other 4 people were teleported out, that Yi Wei-yang was still killing people in the dungeon, Yidu Han-tan was still in the old area reporting for work and had not returned. As for the Central Grass Hall, they had just experienced the feeling of falling from heaven to hell. They were just congratulating each other on setting a new record, but the result of that 4-minute achievement was as if someone had slapped them in the face halfway through. Not only that, in the blink of an eye, Lord Grimm's team pushed them down another level, making Zhong Chao Tang's efforts all meaningless. At a time like this, how could Xa Qianzi not receive a kind message from Lan He? Tragedy. Tragedy. Fuck. 13 minutes. What the hell is this? Are all the Jia Wang dynasty people? Xa Qianzi didn't pay any attention to Lan He's ridicule, instead discussing the feasibility of this achievement. Jia Wang dynasty. Lan He didn't reply to Xa Qianzi, only muttering the name of this guild. He was no stranger to this guild name. Among the guilds that were only one level below the 3 major guilds, Jia Wang dynasty definitely had a place that was not lacking. But this is just the present. This was also a guild that had its moment of glory, right? When the Jia dynasty club swept the professional alliance, that era of 3 years of hegemony. That's right, Jia Wang dynasty. Their backer behind the scenes was Yi Xiu's old boss, the Jia dynasty club. The professional alliance was the pinnacle of glory. Every move of the club could have a profound impact on glory. And the relationship between each club and each guild they supported was one of glory and defeat. The Jia dynasty club's performance in recent years had been consistently bad. The guild they supported was temporarily surpassed by the 3 houses of Lan Shigu, Maodu Ba Dao, and Zhong Qiaotang. Fortunately, the pillar was solid. Although it was surpassed, it was not left too far behind. In this competition in District 10, the 3 major guilds were still competing for supremacy, not paying attention to the other guilds. Who would have thought that the Jia Wang dynasty would appear at this time? Before that, they had not shown up at all. They had not appeared on any of the boards. But now they suddenly became famous. As soon as they came out, they had already firmly grasped the record for passing the Frost Forest. 13 minutes, 24 seconds, 21. Not only did they break the record of District 10, but they also raised the total record of the Frost Forest instance that had not changed for many years. Was the Jia Wang dynasty preparing to rise up? Thinking of this, Lan He suddenly thought of the recent changes in the Jiashi Club. An old generation captain Yi Qiu retired. A new generation expert Sun Xiang took over the fighting god Yi Qiu. This was clearly to erase the old and establish the new. So the Jia Wang dynasty suddenly rose up in the game. Could it be a parallel effect from the club? If that was the case, then relying on players like them to break this record would be a bit exaggerated. This record was extremely likely not created by ordinary players. It's an expert. Outside the Frost Forest instance, Yi Xiu also said the same thing to Yi Wei-yang, who had just finished the instance, and Yidu Handan, who had just returned from the old area. Yidu Handan also ran back to the headquarters like Lan He to report to the guild leader, but as soon as he returned to Area 10, he saw that something big had happened. 13 minutes, 24 seconds, 21. Yidu Handan was also shocked by this number, hurriedly running to the outside of the instance, then heard Yi Xiu's judgment. Nonsense, we also guessed that it was an expert. Yi Weiyang said. It's not an ordinary expert. There are probably more than 3 people in the team who are professional level. Yi Xiu said. Yidu Handan and Yi Weiyang were stunned. Professional experts were in existence that they could only look at but could not reach. The 2 of them momentarily forgot to think about why Yi Xiu had such a clear judgment. This result is almost at the limit of passing the Ice Mist Forest Dungeon's limit. Yi Xiu said. Approximately. Yi Weiyang heard the key word. You mean, this still hasn't reached the limit? Yidu Handan said. The limit is so easy to reach. Yi Xiu laughed. What do you mean? Wait until I reach 25, and then we'll talk about it. You guys should hurry up. Yi Xiu said. What are you rushing for? Both of them were confused. Those are the things I want. Now you guys have time to get them. Yi Xiu said. Fuck. The 2 of them cried out at the same time. Such a terrifying thing was right before their eyes. How could this guy still be worried about his rotten materials and broken equipment? Chapter 84, Needing People. Yi Xiu's dazzling confidence made Yi Du-han Tan and Yi Wei-yong half believe it, but an extremely serious truth was laid out before them. Dude, how many days do you need to reach 25? We can't stay at 25 forever waiting for you. Yi Du-han Tan said. Lord Grimm was currently only level 21. This guy wasn't a leveling fanatic who stayed online 24 hours a day. Reaching 25 would definitely take 3 to 4 days. And Yi Du-han Tan and the others definitely wouldn't waste these 3 to 4 days. Their elite group was definitely above 25. There are 3 people in the opposing team who have reached professional standards or above. Yi Xiu said. Yi Du-han Dan and Yi Wei-yong were both listening, waiting for the next sentence. But in the end, they only heard one sentence, and that was it. Yi Du-han Dan was about to ask, but Yi Wei-yong jumped up and shouted. Fuck, you mean our level is not enough? Comrade Yi Wei-yong had been eliminated from the elite group many times because of his identity as a priest, and unfortunately had developed a habit of doubting himself. At this moment, he easily understood the hidden meaning in Lord Grimm's words. Breaking a normal record is enough, but this record, unless you have a level 25 team of orange items. Yi Xiu said, a team of orange items. Talking about this in the new area was clearly too science fiction. Even in the old district, spending money on equipment to create a team of 25 orange items, then saying that this is for the record of the Frost Forest instance. This joke is too funny. Just because of a lowest level instance, spending all your effort there, it's not worth it. Yi Du-han Tan is indeed the guild leader, although he doubted that he had the same talent as Yi Wei-yong. But at this moment he could hear the deep meaning behind it. Could it be that you can find a character as strong as a professional player? After saying this, Yi Du-han Tan himself found it hard to believe. The lowest level instance of the Frost Forest instance in District 10 actually bothered professional players to come fight each other? It's too magical. Yi Xiu only laughed and said, it's just the Frost Forest. Using professional players is too exaggerated. In fact, as long as the player has strong enough skills, they can reach their limits. A little bit of skills is already the limit. Then professional players are even more extreme. Yi Wei-yong said, let me tell you, first of all, the strength of a character account is insignificant. With the current level of the new area, from the equipment to the strength of an elite team selected from each of your guilds, they are all about the same, right? Yi Xiu said, yes. Yi Du-han Dan admitted that with the current 5-person instance, the advantage of the 3 major guilds was still quite limited. After all, a team of 5 people was enough to challenge it. A first-class guild like Jiaowang Dynasty, creating an elite team of 5 people would not be much different from them. So the last thing that affects the record is the level of the operator. Let's say the level of a professional player is level 10. A low-level dungeon like Frost Forest is considered to have a maximum of 5. The level of level 10 or level 9. In this dungeon, the maximum level is level 5. Do you understand? Yi Du-han Tan and Yi Wei-yong naturally understood. This was like the opponent's HP only being 100. Using an attack of 1000 would lose 1 second. Using an attack of 100 would also lose 1 second. Although the difference between before and after was 10 times, the final result was exactly the same. Even if the attack limit was 1000, it was all because of the opponent's fragile HP of 100. In terms of operation, Han Tan and I are not bad either. Yi Wei-yong said, that's right, you two should be the strongest people in the overbearing scheme side, right? But you two. One is a knight, one is a priest. Yi Xiu said, do you know how to play other professions? How do you count as knowing? Yi Wei-yong asked cautiously. If you answer like this, you count as not knowing. Yi Xiu said. Yi Wei-yong was upset. Yi Du-han Dan continued. I also know how to play elemental mage, but when it comes to accounts, it's a bit troublesome. The accounts I can borrow all need to be leveled up. There's no way to stop at level 25. That being said, even if your guild can invite experts to come over and play, the account problem still won't be solved. Yi Xiu said. Yi Du-han Dan admitted. The level 25 accounts in the new area were currently all focused on leveling up. There's no way to stop now. As for the high-ranking characters of the crowd, they were all newly recruited players in the new area, newly acquainted with each other. How could they not be embarrassed to borrow IDs? Even if he was generous enough to lend them, Glory's card was a real thing, and both parties still had to be in the same place. I can find the person and account, Yi Xiu said. Yi Duhandan felt that this guy was so confident that he must have chosen someone long ago. As a guild leader, he had already started to consider the pros and cons of this matter. If this guy hired the entire team, the price would definitely be very high. Just for a record in the Frost Forest instance, he had spent too much. Yi Duhandan felt that he had lost even more. He replied extremely decisively. The price we offer will not increase anymore. What surprised him was that the extremely greedy person in their eyes, Lord Grimm, did not intend to raise the price, only smiling and saying, "No need. The price will remain the same, but you guys have to do a little more work." What is it? The 5 characters who broke the Jiao Wang dynasty's record, their professions, their equipment. In short, information, the more detailed the better. Yi Xiu said. This matter. I can think of a way. Yi Duhantan said. Also, maybe we will need you guys to spend some equipment. Yi Xiu said. Equipment. Mainly level 25 purple weapons. The equipment of other departments is naturally also very welcome. These are just temporary loans. You can return them to you guys later. You guys can collect the items as collateral if you want. Yi Xiu laughed. What profession do you want? First, find information about the 5 characters of Jiao Wang dynasty. I have to use that to see how many of them are professional level. Yi Xiu said. Then you talk about the professions first. I'm prepared. Yi Duhantan said. Then, a combat mage, a rogue, and an artillery master. Let's do that first. Yi Xiu said. A combat mage? You're not looking for Tiancheng, are you? Yi Duhantan sweated. The expert who was considered strong in combat mage operations in District 10 was naturally Tiancheng of Lanshigu. Of course not. If it was him, wouldn't he lack a purple weapon? That's fine. Yi Duhantan said. Then who are you looking for? As the guild leader, he was always extremely sensitive to talent. I still have to investigate further. Yi Xiu said. Chapter 85, Steam Bun Invasion. Yi Duhantan was extremely confused. District 10 really encountered a demon. Where did all these experts come from? This was even more not Glory style. Normally in online games, a server was a world. Those who struggled in the old area and couldn't do well would often jump to the new area to start over. Perhaps they could even become kings there. But what about Glory? All the experts would eventually gather in the divine domain. No matter how high class you were in areas 1, 2, 3, and 5, if you weren't qualified to enter the divine domain, you were just a laughingstock. Therefore, in Glory, if a veteran wanted to abandon his original character and start farming a new one, he wouldn't necessarily have to move to the new area. In the old area, he could still use the old account's money, rely on the support of force, and level up even faster. Isn't that better? Therefore, the veterans who moved to the new area to reclaim the land were mostly people who migrated for the sake of the guild, like Yi Duhantan and the others. But now, not to mention meeting a previously unknown expert Junimo Xiao, this guy even said that he would find someone with the same level of operation as him and Yi Wei Yang. Although his and Yi Wei Yang's level were still lower than professional players, they were still experts compared to most players. As the elite of the elites of the overbearing scheme, putting him in the Blue Stream Pavilion would also be considered a top 5 expert. In the end, Jun Mashio seemed to be able to casually invite a few more people over. How could you do Handan not be confused? With these new characters, how could he not be curious? You guys level up. This record is still untouchable even if left there. Wait until I level up enough, and I will help you guys pass it. Yi Xiu finally said. Then, contact me later. Yi Duhandan was not in a hurry now. How Jun Mashi would find these characters, he would eventually know. Yi Duhandan and Yi Weiyang left with doubts. They had already run out of turns to go to the Frost Forest. Only my cot was still able to go. Yi Xiu's Lord Grimm was only level 21. He couldn't enter my cot. Next, he could only do monster killing missions to level up. He ran out of the training area and pulled up the friend board, calling Steam Bun Invasion. Steam Bun Invasion was just a fledgling in Glory, but after hunting Blood Archer and going through the dungeon together a few times, Yi Xiu saw that this person actually had quite good hand speed. His situation was similar to Tangro's. He wasn't very familiar with Glory, but his hand speed was very fast. Compared to that, Steam Bun Invasion's speed was inferior to Tangro's, but his coordination was very good. Looking at this person's enthusiasm for glory, 80% of his hand speed was obtained from practicing games with similar operations. Steam Bun Invasion was currently in the Frost Forest dungeon with Tianqi and the others. Yuxiu left his last turn to go with Overbearing Scheme, so Tianqi and the others randomly added a person to go last turn, a combination of players with average level and average equipment and average coordination, resulting in an unbearable dungeon grinding speed, basically 30 minutes of being stuck in there and still not getting out. Steam Bun Invasion had quite fast hand speed, but it couldn't be ignored that he was a rookie in glory, so his ability to display it had a great relationship with the commander. With a great commander to think for him, guide him in his attacks and movements, his hand speed could be fully displayed. Right now their commander was Tianqi, just a veteran player. Not even a master could reach him. "Oh, great master, we're still in the dungeon. What's the matter?" Steam Bun Invasion replied very quickly. Still in the dungeon, the monsters were also being killed. The reply was so fast, it was the best proof of hand speed. "I finished. I'll find you to talk to you later." Yuxiu replied. "Okay. Why didn't I see you on TV?" Steam Bun Invasion said. "Ah, I failed." Yuxiu said. "Oh, what a pity. You go play the dungeon. We'll talk later." "Okay." Yuxiu left the dungeon and discussed with Yidu Hantan and the others for half a day. Tianqi's side was almost done with the dungeon. It didn't take long for the dungeon to pass. The 5 people with ashen faces escaped the dungeon. Tianqi's group was extremely dissatisfied with the efficiency without a master guarding it, but there was no other way. Even though they had seen the expert's fighting style with their own eyes, they still couldn't replicate it. This situation was similar to when Yuxiu used one wave of rushing waves against the 3 major guilds. Lanhe and the others naturally understood how one wave of rushing waves worked, but they couldn't do it again, because the key point was that their technical level really couldn't reach it. Big Brother Expert. Tianqi's team had 5 people before, but the temporary addition had already left, leaving 4 people to greet Yuxiu. They had also heard about the failure to break the record. They had just looked at the record board again, and saw that Lord Grimm was in the second-place team, with a large gap between them and the first-place team. Tianqi guessed that Yuxiu's mood wasn't good right now, so he only greeted them and didn't say much. Right now, the record for this Frost Forest instance is a bit abnormal. To break it, you need to form a team with a certain level of skill. Yuxiu said. "It's not us, right?" Tianqi was sweating. He still knew how he was. How could their level compare to the elites in the guild? "What do you think of Steam Bun's level?" Yuxiu said. Steam Bun, Tianqi, Mu Yunshin, and Qian Shengli all sent a frightened expression, but in the end, what should be said was, Steam Bun has only just started playing. Steam Bun Invasion alone sent 3 frightened expressions. "Yeah, just started playing, but his hand speed is very fast," Yuxiu said. "Really?" Tianqi and the others were suspicious. They didn't pay attention to this. "Oh, really? My hand speed is very fast. How did you know?" Steam Bun Invasion was surprised. "I see it." Yuxiu laughed. Actually, Steam Bun Invasion was a newbie in glory. Seeing that his hand speed was very fast was not an easy thing. But who was Yuxiu? As a living encyclopedia that knew everything by heart, Glory could guess the speed of the other person's hand and reaction to their movements just by looking at a few details. What he saw was not something that ordinary people could see. "My movement speed is very fast, but you feel like you can't use it, right?" Yes. Steam Bun Invasion hurriedly said. "Tonight, follow me to fight monsters. I will teach you with all my heart." Yuxiu said. Okay. Steam Bun Invasion was overjoyed. "Big Brother Expert, please teach us a little." The Tianqi group was in an uproar. "You guys still need me to teach you? Just practice to improve your movement speed," Yuxiu said. Everyone's faces were filled with tears. "I practice all the time. This has to be said, but sometimes there are some things called the influence of talent," Yuxiu said. Everyone shed tears again. "We know you were being euphemistic, but after hearing it, we still find it too straightforward. Let's all go together. Even if you don't have talent, you can still rely on hard training. It's just that many people haven't really put in the effort to train hard," Yuxiu said. Chapter 86, Teaching a Rookie. Yuxiu led Tianqi and his group to the Maikot land. Tianqi, Muyunshin Shengli, and Junemo Shao were both level 21. They didn't have much confidence in defeating monsters of level 23-26 here. This little boy, Steam Bun Invasion, was level 23. There were monsters of the same level as him in my cot, and he was eager to try it. Yushio naturally wanted to focus on tutoring Steam Bun Invasion. Although the other three couldn't be said to not be able to improve, if they wanted to be of any use in an emergency, they could only rely on Steamed Bun Invasion. After chasing the other three away to level up, Yushio started to train one-on-one with Steamed Bun Invasion. The first thing he did was naturally teach him about this rogue profession. The overall ability of this profession was quite strong, but at level 25, there were no group attack skills. When a rogue reached level 1, he could learn a skill similar to other professions, which was Catching Fist, which could make the target float. Next was the level 5 skill, Slap the Ear, a clear and heart-touching slap, the only skill that had the effect of increasing hatred before changing professions. Level 10 was Knee Attack, pulling the other person close and using the knee to hit hard, but this skill was only considered half a grab-type skill because it did not have the effect of knocking down. Next was the level 15 Throat Lock. This skill could not be used from behind. After tightening the throat, it is similar to Knee Attack. It cannot knock down the opponent, but this skill lasts for 2 seconds. The higher the level, the longer the duration. Moreover, in the state of locking the throat, you can still use other types of attacks. For example, level 20 has the skill Brick Attack, but if you want to hit the back of the head, it is a bit difficult. The click and move the mouse must be fast, precise, and have a curve. After changing jobs, level 20 has the skill Sand Throw. Yushio has taught Steam Bun Invasion once. After that is the skill Poison Smear at level 25. Smear poison on the weapon, then launch an attack with the poison attribute. However, this poison does not last long. Only the damage in that one attack cannot be defended against. Steam Bun Invasion level 23 has not learned this skill yet, so let's not mention it for now. But some basic skills and some tricks Steam Bun Invasion could already be learned, so Yushio first taught him some of the hidden effects. Like Slap Ear, how to strike twice in a row. Knee Strike, hitting the back could create a knockback effect. Chest Lock, used to have the opponent's defense. These things, the system did not clearly state, belong to the hidden effects of skills. Steam Bun Invasion was so engrossed in playing, he had never read the manual and was completely clueless. If he didn't know anything, how could he choose a profession? Yushio asked doubtfully, but this kid actually said that he learned a bunch of skills in his free time stage, and then felt that the Slap Ear, Knee Attack, and the Gangster's Throat Lock were all moves that he often used to fight. And he was instantly filled with emotions for this profession and felt a strong sense of integration, so he decided to switch immediately. This answer made Yushio sweat profusely, but since he had already switched, he could only leave it at that. After Yushio shook his hand and taught him, Steam Bun Invasion, which already had enough hand speed, improved even faster, and he played until he forgot everything. Yushio was currently only worried about one problem, with this kid's enthusiasm for the game, and he was also 2 levels higher than him. It couldn't be that he had just reached 25 when he had already jumped to 26, right? This problem was really too serious. Yushio felt that he had to have a serious talk with Steam Bun Invasion. This Steam Bun, how long has it been since you slept? Huh? I'm not tired. Steam Bun Invasion was excitedly playing with monsters, and Slap Ears slapped. You should rest a bit. I found a few guides. They're all about hooligans. You can take a look. Yushio said. Yeah, I'll look at them after dinner. Steam Bun Invasion said. Even if you level up desperately, you still won't be able to catch up with those people in the big guilds. They're all a bunch of people who farm the same account, leveling up non-stop every day. Yushio said. Steam Bun Invasion looked disdainful. Then what ability do you have? Many people have more power, so you alone shouldn't compete with them anymore. Just take it easy and practice slowly. The main thing is, you're practicing so fast, you'll be level 26 in the blink of an eye. Why should I find you to break the record with me? Yushio finally got the main idea out. Why can't you? Steam Bun Invasion was really too ignorant. He didn't even know the rules of the record board. Yushio had to explain again for a while, then Steam Bun Invasion was entangled in conflict again. He wanted to quickly level up, and also wanted to break the record of being on TV. At this time, the 3 Tianqi people were also summoned here by Yushio to act as lobbyists, to persuade Steam Bun Invasion. These 3 people also put all their efforts into persuading Steam Bun Invasion that the rank and glory was nothing. Being on TV and hanging up the record board was the most noble goal to pursue. A bunch of people took turns throwing bombs. Steam Bun Invasion finally reluctantly accepted. All right, I'll try to slow down a bit. How many days does the great god want to level up in? Quickly, Yushio said, That's right. Don't join any guilds these days. Finally conquering Steam Bun Invasion, Yishio let out a sigh. Dealing with a rookie was not an easy task. You lecture. The cool breeze just blows over the mountains, and a novice is also a mountain. Steam Bun had a hard time accepting that he had to level up slowly. Now he couldn't fight monsters. Not fighting was boring. Fighting fast wasn't good. Fighting slowly wasn't satisfying. For the moment he didn't know what else to do. He simply left the game, collecting the tutorials that Yishio told him to look at. When Yishio saw it, this friend had finally stopped practicing, and he had to be sure of himself too. So he teamed up with the other three, treating the encyclopedia as a dungeon and crazily raiding it. When the three of them started to feel nauseous when they saw encyclopedia, Yishio was still in high spirits, making the three people unable to help but sigh, as expected of a master boss. Wandering around the encyclopedia until dawn, the four people had all reached level 22. Although the three of them wanted to vomit, under the leadership of the master boss, even fighting monsters became more efficient, making the three of them feel a little reluctant. On this side, it was time for Yishio to change shifts. He couldn't sit at the computer counter playing anymore. He hurriedly changed shifts, chased to the smoking area, and went back to the game. Chingguo woke up, looked out the window, and saw that today was another beautiful day. Twisted his neck, turned around and crawled up, rubbed his eyes, and was about to go to the toilet. When he got to the bedroom, he suddenly thought that there was still a man living in this house. He couldn't just casually expose his chest like before when he was with just Tangro. Thinking that, Chingguo tidied up her pajamas, tied and buttoned everything properly before leaving the bedroom. As soon as she went out, she saw that Tangro's door was only half closed. Too sloppy. There was a man in the house. Sleeping with the door open, the spring scenery exposed is really not good. Chingguo thought and tried to practice, trying to look through the crack of the door to see if she could see Tangro's bed. As a result, she could see it, but there was no one on it. Chingguo was stunned, went forward and pushed the door open. Tangro's bed had never been laid on. Didn't sleep all night. Chingguo was surprised, immediately examined Yishio's small storage room. The door was also slightly closed. Hesitating for a moment, he still peeked in. There was no one. These two lunatics. Chingguo looked around the two rooms left and right, not seeing anyone. Chapter 87. Not sleeping. Chingguo quickly changed her clothes and appeared at the internet cafe like the wind. Amidst the greetings of the employees who were working, "Good morning, boss," she saw Tangro in a bright corner of the non-smoking area. Her expression was still as focused as before Chingguo went to bed last night, without the slightest bit of lethargy. She ran to the smoking area to take a look. Yishio was holding a cigarette and inhaling the smoke. His face while he was working could not be seen clearly in the light blue smoke. It was early morning. This was the time when there were the least customers, even fewer than the people who played all night. The internet cafe only echoed with the sounds of two people working. You for a while, I for a while, clack clack clack. Chingguo ignored Yishio. First she had to kill Tangro on the other side. Still playing. Don't you want to live anymore? Chingguo walked closer and spoke. No response. Tangro was still wearing headphones, only hearing the sound of the game in her ears. Chingguo beside her something, at this moment was not in the same world as her. Chingguo had no choice but to step forward and take off her headphones. Only then did Tangro react. Get up. It's morning. Tangro turned her head to look at Chingguo for half a second, then turned her head back to continue playing. Clack clack clack. I'm playing like crazy. Chingguo was at a loss. She doubted whether she had dragged Tangro into glory or not. Haha. Tangro just smiled and said nothing. What level are you now? Chingguo looked. Level 16, still 5 levels below Yishio's Lord Grim. Tangro finished speaking and opened her friend list. As soon as she saw Lord Grim she exclaimed, Aya, he leveled up again, level 22. Why are you fighting so much? After finishing the dungeon, you have to sleep. After resting, you can continue playing. Chingguo looked at Tangro's Hanyin-ro who was still killing in the Dry Bones Graveyard dungeon in Xian Village, and it was solo. Who would dare believe that this was just a newcomer to glory? What are you sleeping for? I should also go to work. Tangro said. Chingguo was stunned. That's right. Today was Tangro's morning shift. Logically, she should be sitting at the counter by now. I'll finish the dungeon and work right away. Tangro turned to Chingguo and smiled ingratiatingly. Even if the relationship between the two was good, it was still a boss-employee relationship. Tangro was also someone who worked for a living at the internet cafe, not just playing around for free. Rest first. I'll find someone to switch shifts for you. Chingwa said. No need, no need. Tang Rou chatted with Chingwa, her hands not stopping at all. This night, while watching the tutorial and playing the game, using a few low-level magician skills to fight back and forth, Tang Rou had improved a lot, not completely relying on reaction and operation like before. All right. Under Chinggua's attentive gaze, Tang Rou's Han Yin Rou single-handedly defeated the final boss of the Dry Bone Graveyard. She left the game, turned off the computer, and immediately walked towards the counter. Chingua followed behind in a daze, and after Tang Rou reached the counter, she logged into the game again. Sister, I should at least eat something, right? Chingua said. You haven't eaten either, right? Thank you. Tang Rou smiled again as if she was trying to please her. I give up. Chingua smiled bitterly, went out to buy breakfast, returned to give Tang Rou a portion, then gave another portion to Yuxiu. Ah, boss, you're too polite. When Yuxiu received breakfast, he kept saying, last night you didn't help me cover the blanket again. How was it? Did you sleep well? You two are crazy. Chingua thought about the fact that it was clearly a large room for 3 people, but when he woke up in the morning, he found himself alone. Huh? Little Tang didn't sleep either. Yuxiu finished speaking and quickly pulled up his friend frame, and sure enough, he saw that Han Yin Rou was still online as before. You don't know. Chingua was stunned. Could it be that these 2 people played together all night without saying a word to each other? On the contrary, Tang Rou was chasing after this guy's level, but this guy didn't know anything. I didn't notice. Just in time. I have something to look for her for. Yuxiu took his breakfast and ran to find Tang Rou. Tang Rou was eating breakfast while looking at the Battle Mage guide on the computer, and when she saw Yuxiu coming, she quickly swallowed the food in her mouth, and after wiping her mouth, she nodded and greeted him. What level is it? Yuxiu asked. Level 16. That's fast. Hurry up and get to level 25. Something interesting is coming. Yuxiu said. Oh? What's going on? Tang Rou asked. Did you see the Frost Dungeon clearing record? Yuxiu asked. I saw it. Your record seems to have been broken. Tang Rou said. She was very concerned about this record. The reason was because she wanted to be better than Yuxiu, but unexpectedly tonight someone had surpassed it. Among them was a team that was Yuxiu himself. Tang Rou saw Lord Grimm's name ranked second on the leaderboard. His record was also higher than before. It's not just you who broke the record. The highest records in all 10 regions were surpassed. Yuxiu said. You want to reclaim the record? Tang Rou said. Yeah. Isn't it interesting? Yuxiu said. If you reclaim it, then I'll break your record. Then it'll be even more interesting. Tang Rou said. What grudge do you and I have? Yuxiu was both amused and annoyed. This little sister really wanted to confront him. Haha. Tang Rou laughed. When you turn 20, go experience this dungeon first. I think you underestimate the concept of records. Yuxiu said. I was just kidding. The highest record in all 10 areas must be very fierce. Tang Rou said. Yeah. Then hurry up and level up. Yuxiu breathed a sigh of relief. He was worried that she might be a bit too conceited. Okay. Tang Rou nodded and replied. Are you sleeping today? Yuxiu asked. Hey, you too. Don't go too far. Chingua suddenly jumped out to interrupt. After listening for a while, she discovered that these 2 didn't plan on sleeping. Was there a need to risk their lives like this? Boss, don't worry. I won't delay your work. Yuxiu said. That won't do either. The computers in the shop are all yours. You 2 aren't allowed to play anymore. Chingua said arrogantly. Yuxiu sighed and knocked on the counter. Xiao Tang, give me a membership card. Tang Rou was stunned and immediately went to get one, muttering, I have to make one too. Chingua collapsed, really angry. What was even more infuriating was why Tang Rou was so obedient. Near the ink, blackened. Just playing glory for a day and already learned bad habits. Leave it to you too. Chingua angrily ran away. Cough. Work hard on leveling up. Yuxiu didn't mention the membership card anymore, said a word to Tang Rou, and returned to his smoking area to continue working hard. Tang Rou's morning shift was from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. The shop's early morning business wasn't much. She wasn't busy, so she continued playing. As noon approached, the number of people gradually increased. She was a little worried at the counter. The game kept getting interrupted, but she continued to persevere. On the other side, Yuxiu stopped playing as soon as noon arrived. He ran over to look and saw that Tang Rou was still trying to play in such a fierce state. It really wasn't easy. You really didn't sleep? Yuxiu asked. I work the morning shift. I don't get off work until 3 o'clock. Tang Rou said. Ah. Yu replied, "You still need to pay attention to rest. Your physical strength also greatly affects your performance." Chapter 88, Glory's Round Robin. Xiu and Tang Rou went to sleep right after lunch, and the other slept after finishing his 3-hour shift. By the time dinner was over, neither of them were left. Chunghua angrily finished dinner with the staff, not wanting to leave any food for anyone, but after eating half of it, she softened and finally arranged a meal for both of them. After 8 o'clock, Xiu had slept for 8 hours and woke up mechanically. After smoking a cigarette, he washed his face and left the room to go downstairs. The first floor of the shop was completely dark, just like the time the TV broadcast the news of Xiu's retirement. Xiu was stunned, remembering that Xing Xian Internet Cafe usually broadcasts the Glory Professional League tournament as usual, calculating the time. Today is the 20th round of the competition. Going down to the main hall on the first floor to take a look, sure enough, the projection screen used to show the program before has also been opened, currently playing the esports competition channel. The match has not officially started yet, but many people have grabbed good positions, playing games while waiting for the match to officially start. Xiu walked to the front counter, asking the girl at the counter, "How far is the round?" The girl is of course also the type of person who doesn't care about glory, currently still watching Korean dramas, but staying in the internet cafe for a long time. The rain has soaked in. She can be considered to know the things she needs to know. It's Jia Sure. Xiu nodded, extremely understanding. Glory Professional League has a total of 20 clubs. 20 teams will take turns to pair up. 10 matches will take place simultaneously. The channels on TV are also limited. Usually they will choose to broadcast the important matches, but this is an online game competition, of course, relying on the internet. All 10 matches will be broadcast online at the same time. The audience can choose the match they are most interested in to watch. Xing Xian Shop is in the same city as Jiashi Club. The Glory fans here will naturally support the team from the same city. Xing Xian Internet Shop mainly broadcasts Jiashi matches. Now Xiu has retired. Although the supporters are heartbroken, but those who do not know the inside story like them will continue to support the club. The newly recommended expert Sun Xiang makes them even more expectant, hoping that Jiashi can reverse the previous decline. At that time, they are still second from the bottom on the leaderboard, but after all, the elimination round is only halfway through. Everyone is still waiting for a miracle to happen. The unified match time is 8:30. There are still more than 10 minutes left. After Chunghua finished organizing everything, he walked over and saw Xiu standing by the counter. "Boss." Xiu hurriedly greeted him. "I left some food for you," Chunghua said. "Thanks." Xiu hurriedly went to find some food to eat. "Is it the Jiashi match?" Xiu chatted with Chunghua while eating. "Yeah." Chunghua nodded. "Which team is the opponent?" Xiu asked. 301, Chunghua said. "Yeah." Xiu nodded. Of course, he knew more about the big teams than Chunghua. 301 was the short name of the 3 and 1 degree team, belonging to the 3 and 1 degree club, and was also a long-standing team in Glory, always maintaining a mid-level position with stable results. Although the mid-level team did not have a strong character account like Fighting God 1 Autumn Leaf, the strength of the 6 main accounts was quite balanced. One of the 6 characters, Captain Yang Tong, controls the assassin Feng Jingjia and possesses the silver twin sword weapon, Luing Wanyu. His technique is vicious, and he is also a rather difficult opponent. In the first half of the round-robin elimination match, Jiashi had basically fallen into a situation where everyone looked down on him. But now that a new expert had come to join in, he declared that he wanted to rise up again. This was Sun Xiang's first match after joining, and the TV channel also chose to broadcast it live. At 8:30, the match started on time, and Xiu finished the dinner like the wind. The atmosphere in the shop was also boiling. Everyone was heroically discussing their views on the match, and they were extremely arrogant as they pointed out the country. Xiu looked at Chunghua beside him, who was also showing unusual excitement at this moment, as expected of a die-hard fan of Glory. The 20th round-robin elimination round of the 7th season of Glory Professional League, Ba Le Mot du vs Gia. The subtitles also popped up on the broadcast screen. The MC was screaming and shouting, heating up the atmosphere, and loudly introduced today's guest, Li Ba. Li Ba? Yi Xiao didn't need the MC's introduction. In this vicious circle, there was hardly anyone he didn't recognize. Li Yiba used to be a professional player, but he retired 4 years ago. This person's technical level was considered top-notch in the professional world, and he was also very clever as a person. Having built a very good relationship with the media, after retiring he immediately became a guest commentator, having been in this profession for 4 years. At this moment, Li Yiba was sitting in front of the screen, dressed neatly and sincerely commenting on the two teams. Jia Shi, the team that was about to have a major change, naturally became the focus of the commentary. And of course there was no shortage of memories of Yi Xiao. Li Yiba had a calm expression as he recalled the old memories of him and Yi Xiao. Yi Xiao listened until his eyes widened and his mouth fell open. "You little brother, you and I haven't even spoken more than 10 sentences. Bullshit. Just bullshit." Li Yiba calmly continued to talk. He must have prepared his lines. After that, he teased the MC a few sentences, and only then did the match officially begin. 3-1 versus Jia Shi. The first match was an individual match. The staff appeared on stage to introduce. 3-1. The player who entered the match was Gao Jie. Character, Spirit Sword. The internet cafe was filled with sarcasm, and there were also curses. For die-hard fans, any opponent was an enemy, and crushing them directly was enough to satisfy their cravings. Next was Jia Shi, the player Su Muzhong, who entered the battle. Character, Mu Yuzhong Feng. Su Muzhong. Before Yi Xiao knew anything, he was startled by the sea of people screaming in the cafe, almost falling off his chair, especially Chun Guo's ear-piercing scream beside him. It was too memorable. What a fierce reaction. Yi Xiao laughed. He had never doubted Su Muzhang's popularity, but this scene still shocked him. Of course, the top female expert. Chun Guo said proudly. This was her #1 idol. The top female expert? Who said that? Yi Xiao wondered. Everyone says that. Chun Guo said. It's just promotion. Yi Xiao said. Otherwise, who is it? Chun Guo asked. If we're talking about skill, the strongest female player should be Chu Yunxiu. Yi Xiao said. Chu Yunxiu from Team Yanwu? Chun Guo asked. Yeah. Chun Guo thought about it, but the match on the other side had already started, and her thoughts immediately flew away. She shouted, "Ah, Su Muzhang," cheering on her idol, as if Su Muzhang could hear her voice. What a brainless fan. Yi Xiao was impressed. If Su Muzhang had come to the store to play, this young lady wouldn't have been so excited that she burned down the internet cafe to celebrate, right? Chapter 89. Home Field Advantage. Amidst the cheers of the audience, the match officially began. In the professional world, overwhelming advantages were still rare. It was impossible for the kind of exaggerated difference in strength between experienced players and novice players to arise. However, people with strong strength and god-level characters in their hands actually exerted a certain amount of suppression on ordinary players, but Su Mutran and her Mu Vutran Fong had not yet reached that level. Compared to that, Gao Jie and his Star Spirit Sword were still weaker. But this kind of fragile strength was completely insufficient to determine victory or defeat. This match was a 1v1 match, and it was not surprising who would win or lose. Good or bad performance on the field could prolong this thin difference, and could compensate for it or even increase it in a transcendent way. After all, this was still a sports competition based on people. God-level characters, it still depended on the controllability of the person in charge. No matter how strong a player is, there are times when they are defeated by others due to poor performance. Moreover, this is an era of many heroes and heroes. Bold lines like "Invincible is very lonely" have long been sealed. Beautiful Lady Su, I'm about to start. In the live broadcast news box next to it, a sentence typed out by Tin Then Kim appeared. That's right, in the glory match. Although the two opposing sides cannot communicate verbally, they can type to send messages. In the arena, there is only one such public channel for chatting, and the messages exchanged are not blocked at all, and are broadcasted live for the audience to see. To be honest, there are a few matches where players use words to provoke or even use more outrageous words during the match. In the Alliance, there is no shortage of experts who are good at disturbing the emotions of their opponents by talking nonsense. Because the opponent will definitely see the text that appears, it is impossible to frame or cover the news. Of course, whether or not to use this method depends on the wishes of each player. Over the years, all kinds of players have appeared. Some people from the beginning to the end of the match have free time to talk nonsense. Some people take every opportunity to be quiet to mock. Some people do not say a word, hoarding words like gold throughout the match. They even directly play dirty tricks to turn the opponent's screen into a screen full of ancestors or other people's genitals. Although this kind of news is not covered, the player will definitely be punished by the Alliance in the end. Moreover, there are many spectators in the match. Violent and harsh language will naturally reduce their own image. So the main offenders are usually those who accidentally typed a forbidden word when they were provoked. It has been a long time since someone has used this method to attack. At this time, Gao Jie's introduction had a teasing meaning. Many fans in the Xing Xian internet cafe immediately got excited, screaming to castrate it. As a result, Su Muzheng only typed out an expression, smiley face, and a word, okay. Gao Jie, after removing that introduction, did not attack anymore, immediately drew his sword and started attacking. Xing Shenjian was a swordsman. Mu Wu Zhengfeng was a gunnery master, typically the two major professions of ranged and melee combat. Gao Jie relied on his familiarity with the map, took a detour to avoid people, and quietly approached Mu Wu Zhengfeng. Why is it said that Gao Jie is familiar with the map? Because the pre-season qualifiers of Glory are a double round-robin competition, with a home-away division. The biggest advantage of the home team is the right to choose the battle map. In Glory, there are many promising battle maps, and they are constantly updated every year. The home team will know what map they are using, and will naturally research and practice it beforehand. The away team may have also played this map before, but obviously it cannot compare to the home team who has practiced it diligently. The situation where the map the home team chooses coincides with the map the away team is about to choose as their home map can of course happen, but so far this has never happened. And the number of maps in Glory is increasing. This ratio is also constantly decreasing. As for choosing the home map that the opponent has used as home, this is considered unlucky. There is no other way to blame. At that time, it was a map used for individual competition, a small town covered in white snow. The entire person of the character Tin Then Kim was wearing white equipment. Even the silver sword light weapon in his hand Kim Bok Kwang also had a white light like its name. The intention of choosing this map was too obvious. At this time, Tin Then Kim was circling to approach Mok Vu Tran Fong. The first side directly projected to Tin Then Kim's first-person perspective, letting the viewer fall into the feeling of being lost in a strange realm for a while. The entire map was projected from above with a divine perspective. From here it could be seen that at this time Mu Zhengfeng did not stand still at the place where he appeared, but moved everywhere. The image immediately projected to Mu Zhengfeng's side. The side that broadcast the first match had many perspectives, not only the first-person perspective of the player. At this time the screen was pulled out from the third-person perspective, so that people could clearly see Mu Zhengfeng investigating the small area around. Therefore, it could be seen that although whether a match was special or not still depended on the performance of the two players, but in terms of broadcasting it to people, it needed a great director to complete it. The entire match only saw two tiny characters walking back and forth on the map. No matter how exciting the match was when it was broadcast, it was useless. The director who broadcast this match was clearly not ordinary. He had panned out 3 angles, and with the explanation of the MC and the guests, the audience immediately understood the intentions of the two players. Gao Jie controlled the spirit sword to circle forward, preparing to suddenly approach Mu Tran Fong. But Su Mu Tran, with her rich experience, had obviously predicted this. After observing the surrounding terrain, she had let Mu Tran Fong jump to a position that could be a good sniping position. Standing there and looking down, the approaching spirit sword would now be the one exposed to Mu Tran Fong's cannon. At this moment, the Xing Xian internet cafe was filled with ridicule and laughter. The one being laughed at was naturally Gao Jie. The plan to sneak attack turned into falling into Su Muqing's ambush. But Yu Xiao knew that things wouldn't be that simple. If Gao Jie really fell into the ambush, then his home advantage would be wasted. Sure enough, as Yu Xiao had guessed, after Gao Jie's star spirit sword got close to that place, he didn't rush out casually. Instead, he circled around a path and peeked out through the alley. This guy, sneaking around, looks so mean. Why don't you hurry up and come out and die? Chen Guo said impatiently. Yu Xiao shook his head and said, his current location is a blind spot. Su Muqing's actions are within his plans. Gao Jie's current location is a blind spot. No matter where Su Muqing chose to aim just now, he couldn't observe this location. It seems that all of Su Muqing's actions are within Gao Jie's plans. Li Ba's voice rang out at the right time. The content was exactly the same as what Yishio had just said. It seems that 301 has studied this map very thoroughly. The MC laughed and said, "That's right," Li Ba said. "Then how did Gao Jie know the shooting location where Su Muqing was hiding?" Qingguo said and was suddenly stunned, because the MC had also asked this question. Footprints. Yishio and Li Ba answered at the same time, and the answer was exactly the same. Chapter 90. The footprints are the trap. Oh, so it's footprints. The MC suddenly realized. Everyone, look, 301's home is a snow map. When the character moves, they will leave clear footprints. Following the MC's words, the director also showed the image of Mu Yutran Fong's footprints. But if you just go out and observe the footprints like that, you will still be exposed within Mu Yutran Fong's attack range. The MC was puzzled. So look, on the screen where the spirit sword had already started moving, Li Ba also explained. Gao Jie must be trying to go to a location where he can observe the footprints and not be discovered by Su Muqing. 301's research on this map is really too thorough. Huh? There is such a location. The MC continued to be puzzled. Perhaps only Gao Jie can solve this puzzle. Li Ba pretended to be nervous and was very funny. Ha ha ha. The MC naturally laughed along. In reality, as a professional sports MC for Glory, Fan Lam had been in the industry for quite some time. He himself was also a Glory fan, although his technical level could not be compared to professional players, but having worked in the industry for a long time, his eyes were not ordinary. In fact, he understood all the problems he had previously doubted, but there was no other way. This was a required program. The MC had to sing and respond to the guest and continue the conversation. The MC and the guest jobs were different. The MC's main job was to introduce, while the guest gave comments. Pan Lin had been reporting for many years and had cooperated with Li Ba quite a few times, so they were quite compatible in their work. This Gao Jie controlled Xing Shinjian to walk around in a circle, and after finding a location, the broadcast screen changed, showing Xing Shinjian's first-person perspective. Sure enough, from Xing Shinjian's perspective, he saw Mu Jingfeng's series of footprints, and those with a divine perspective like the audience naturally knew that this series of footprints was enough to reveal Mu Jingfeng's location. It was indeed discovered. Pan Lin said, Su Muzheng was too careless. This mistake shouldn't have happened. Yeah, it seems that Yichio's retirement has had quite a big impact on her psychology. After all, she has always been by Yichio's side since she debuted. Li Ba said as if it was a given. Aya, what should we do? Qingguo nervously grabbed Yichio's arm. Yichio only smiled. After blowing out a puff of smoke, he said, the footprints are the real trap. What? Qingguo was stunned, turning her head to look at Yichio. In fact, she wasn't asking Yichio, she was just worriedly mumbling to herself. Look. Yichio pointed at the screen. A loud cannon sound came. Qingguo quickly turned her head back. She only saw that Mu Yuzhenfeng on the screen had already wanted to fly away, conveniently firing an anti-tank cannon in the air towards Xing Shinjian, who was lurking behind the corner of the wall. Gao Jie clearly hadn't expected his opponent to suddenly attack. 3 shells from the anti-tank cannon whizzed over. Wanting to escape quickly was too late. Xing Shinjian was blown up against the wall by the pressure from the exploding shells. When Mu Jingfeng's flying cannon landed, it still stopped on a roof. The dark cannon's mouth pointed towards Xing Shinjian. A series of sparks shot out. A cannonball flew out not far away and exploded into several small pieces of cannonballs, falling in several arcs towards the spirit sword. No matter which direction the spirit sword went, they would all hit it. The cannonball master skill, shrapnel cannon. The cannonball fired exploded into 8 pieces of cannonballs that fell down, attacking within the range. This skill was usually used standing on flat ground and using the shrapnel cannon move towards the sky. After the cannonball exploded, the shrapnel would fall from the sky and cover the target. But at this moment, Mu Yuzhenfeng himself was standing high up, reducing the somewhat difficult calculation. Although the spirit sword could no longer dodge, there was still the problem of how much damage he would take. Standing still would take damage from all 8 pieces of cannonballs. Therefore, Gao Jie controlled the spirit sword to charge forward. The damage was unavoidable, so he decided to shorten the distance with Mu Yuzhenfeng. Now that the person was nearby, sneak attacks were no longer effective. With the 3 drawn/opening the way, the spirit sword, after eating 2 pieces of shrapnel, quickly rushed to the bottom of that house, immediately unleashing a rising dragon slash. A glowing sword slashed high into the air as the person flew up. With this powerful flying skill, Gao Jie believed that the artillery master would absolutely not be able to stop him from flying up to the roof. Sure enough, the person who had just jumped up saw Mu Yuzhenfeng retreating, continuing to keep a distance from the spirit sword. Just as she saw the spirit sword about to stop on the roof, Mu Yuzhenfeng reached out and made a click sound. A burning lighter left her hand, drawing a curve in the air and flying to the porch next door. Heat-sensing flying bullet. Using the heat source of the lighter to guide the bullets flying down from above to attack the opponent, the attack range is wide, the power is great, a very powerful skill. However, too slow. Before Tin Then Kim landed, he jumped up and used a move called Draw Sword Slash. The snow-white sword light flashed past. A precise king sound split the lighter that had not yet fallen to the ground in half. Too beautiful. Fan Lam and Lai Nabak simultaneously praised Chao Kiet's extremely unique operation, but at this moment, the other side's news frame suddenly showed a smiley face sent by Damak Tran, followed by a large pillar of light descending from the sky. Surrounding Tin Then Kim's entire body, even the porch that Tin Then Kim was standing on also exploded. The pillar of light rotated. In the blink of an eye, 6 small pillars of light were added, rotating and circling around the large pillar of light in the middle, spreading out step by step, snowflakes flying along with it. The entire sky was white. The final move of the artillery master, satellite beam. A satellite beam is too delicious. Professional MC Fan Lin reacted quite quickly, immediately adding another sentence like this, as if the previous, beautiful compliment given to Gao Jie was already planned to accompany Su Muzhing's next compliment. Li Ba's reaction was also not slow, hurriedly saying, Gao Jie miscalculated this time. Let's look at the damage caused by the satellite beam. Fan Lin coordinated with the image of the spirit sword's health bar that the director had given him. It's estimated to be a third lost. Li Ba said. Let's take a look. Sure enough, the spirit sword's health has dropped by a third. This satellite beam move is too fierce. Moreover, he also suffered damage from the anti-tank cannon and 2 pieces of artillery shells. Gao Jie fell into an extremely passive position. Fan Lin made a fuss. That's right. Next, let's see if he has any other way to approach Mu Yuzhenfeng. Keeping such a distance, there's no way he can hit the artillery master. Li Boi said, your analysis is not wrong at all. Fan Lin quickly continued. From the moment she thought that Mu Yuzhenfeng would be ambushed until the moment Xing Shenjian was hit and caught off guard, instantly exploding a third of his HP, the fans in Xing Xian Internet Cafe were all stunned and forgot to admire, including Qinghua. It wasn't until she heard Yu Xiu beside her say, Gao Jie doesn't have a chance, Su Muzhing's spirit is very good.